Hello and welcome back to Future Neighbor Podcast. I am Daniel.
And I'm Katie.
Just in case you forgot our names already. Guys, we had a blast this weekend. We had the chance to go back out to the Hangang River. If you guys don't know, Hangang River splits Seoul in half, and it's a huge river.
Yeah.
It's very long, but it's also
And
very wide. Right? I think I was actually looking it up on Wikipedia when we were out there. It's 1 kilometer in width.
It's really wide.
Yeah, about half a mile. Yeah. So what we were doing out there, we started to do windsurfing about a year ago.
Yay!
And, you know, the feeling that you get when you're out in the middle of that river and you have the wind blowing across your back, you have the Lotte World Tower. That's like right in the back of you.
Beautiful view.
You drop the sail and you look up and you just feel so present, so invigorated by the city.
Yeah.
In my head, like, you know, when I have those like great feelings, like the other time that I get this feeling is like when I would go snowboarding. And I go to put on my bindings, but over the horizon, you see the mountain slope fall off and you see like the beautiful mountain, like white mountain caps in the back.
Yeah.
You just feel so alive, like nature's energy.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an unusual feeling you get living in Seoul because usually it's like packed with people, so busy.
Yeah.
Like just time ticking by so fast. There's so much like stress.
Yeah.
But then when you're here, it feels like you're somewhere else. Everybody's so chill. There's people cycling along and coming with dogs.
Oh, you mean at the Hangang?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you feel the wind, and you actually get an entire view of like the Seoul city.
Yeah. I would highly recommend anyone that comes to Seoul to take a bike ride along Hangang River. Like, remember we recommended our friends that came from London and they said that was the favorite part? There's a there's a nice bike course that you can just cycle around. It's the best way to see the city.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And it's relatively cheap.
When I was out in the middle of the Hangang, in my mind there was like this one song. There's a song by Nas off of his first album called Illmatic, and it's called "The World Is Yours." Whose world is this? The world is yours. The world is yours.
Oh, you're so cheesy.
No, it's beyond cheesy. I just felt like I don't know. I just wanted to share that because, you know, when we're in the city, when we're living life, there's not that many times when you just feel...
You feel really small.
Feel invigorated.
Yeah, helpless.
Yeah, so what do you mean feel helpless?
Helpless
You
because you feel such a small part of such a big world.
That's how you feel when you're out there. Oh, I see. That's interesting. I have different reactions. I feel like I'm the main character, main character in the world. When I'm there, I can feel the city. I'm like pulling energy from the atmosphere. Whereas you feel how small you are.
No,
in a
you mean when
world.
you're in the Hangang?
Yeah.
No. I mean in general.
I see.
In life, but then when you go out
Yeah.
and enjoy the view at Hangang, then you kind of forget about all these things.
Is the Hangang clean?
I don't know. We saw some dead fish last time.
I've jumped into it multiple times, like you know, with my friend. We try to switch boards, and I just jump in.
Yeah, you don't mind, right?
No, I don't mind at all.
But I saw that some friends like don't want to do this because obviously the water isn't that clean, so they don't want to fall into the dirty water. But I did fall a few times at the beginning, but then now I try my best not to fall.
You know, I think one of the reasons why I do a lot of outdoor activities as an adult is that I had a second dad growing up.
Is this a revelation?
Yeah, like second dad. Yeah, that could mean a lot of things in 2020.
I know.
What I mean by it was I have a close friend, and since my dad, we were immigrant family, my dad would most likely be at work during the weekends, and we didn't know how to have fun. All we kind of knew was how to survive and like keep our story going in America.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the weekends, for my parents, it means resting at home.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I'm like, I have so much energy. I'm a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my close friend, his dad, he was an American kid, and his dad, his dad was going through a rough time in his life too. He was going through a divorce, but I was friends with his son, so he wanted to distract his kid quite a lot through these activities.
Yeah.
And of course, I would tag along. And the dad was great. I still think he's one of the, he made such a big impact in my younger life, in my formative years. And and last time I saw him, I thanked him as well. Said he really meant a lot to me. And we lived in Orange County, and we would go towards this, it was a jazz cafe at night. It was called Steamers, but during the afternoon, it was a bagel shop. And so we would ride our bicycles, go all the way to Steamers, and it took like maybe 30, 45 minutes. And when you were young, that felt like a marathon. Yeah, and we were so tired, and we got there, and then I still remember the bagels that they had. I would order this turkey bagel melt. I mean, they would slice the bagel in half. I picked out the jalapeno cheddar. They had like the crispy cheddar on the outside. Then they put it through the toaster oven. It comes nice and hot. They put
yum.
Am I making you hungry?
Yeah.
And they put a dab of mayo on, and then they put some shredded turkey, a big slice of tomato, and a couple slices of provolone on top. Put it back in the toaster. It comes back bubbling hot with the cheese, and then a few sprinkles of Parmesan cheese.
Oh my gosh. Actually, America, they do really good bagels, right?
Yeah.
When I was in San Francisco, I had that salmon lox
Mm.
bagel.
Oh, the
and
Lux
like
bagel.
my first time having it.
Oh,
And I
that's
was
what I
amazed.
miss in Korea too. We don't have
Yeah.
Lux bagels here.
Yeah, that's the one thing that we miss here.
Yeah. And we would eat that. And then there was a comic shop next door that sold, like hard print comic books.
Yeah.
And we would go and look. And so, I don't know.
You had comic book stores?
Yeah. I mean, this was like back in the early 90s. I still remember like his son or my friend would like cry bicycling back because it was so tough. It was hot, and when you're young, you don't know how to persevere. But he was trying to teach them these lessons.
Yeah, so athletic.
No, he wasn't athletic. That's why he was crying.
No, but the dad must have
Yeah.
been quite
His dad
athletic.
used to be in the Air Force.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so he was teaching all these mini lessons through these activities, and I didn't know at the time. Started doing bicycle riding there, and then he started taking us to snowboarding when we were very young. And so...
Because your parents don't know how to snowboard.
No. They've never been on a ski slope. I mean, for my parents, when they see those things, it's just like, that's not what we do.
Yeah.
That's not even in the realm of like possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely not like affordable sport at that time for our parents' generation.
Yeah. Leaving the house meant spending money. So best thing was sitting at home and watching K-dramas. $2 a tape. You could rent all when they would, the Korean shops would rent out those VHS. I still remember my mom's or in the garage, there would be stacks and stacks of tapes. And I'd be like, Mom, don't you have to return those? And she'd be like, I don't know, that's from last year. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, the shops long time ago. That's so funny. All the shops, now that I think about it, like all the popular K-dramas that came out in Korea, the Korean like K-drama shops in Orange County, they would basically burn it onto what do you call those?
Videotape.
Yeah, onto a videotape, and they would make like hundreds of copies, and then they would just rent them out to all Koreans, and that was like a viable business.
I think I had that too in the UK.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I didn't go that often, but I do remember going, and there was a room of all the videotapes, and it definitely wasn't high quality either.
Yeah.
But it was still worth it.
Do you remember what drama you were watching?
I watched so many dramas when I was young. So
I remember there was two. There was the one with the Kim Tok-gang. The Yain
that's
Shide.
such an old one. That was like even before I moved to the UK.
What's the proper name for it in Korean?
Yain Shide.
Yain Shide, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my dad and mom would watch that all the time.
That one was like viral in Korea.
Yeah. It's do you remember what the plot was about?
It was set in like
the Japanese occupation of Korea.
Yeah,
and what was the guy's Korean name? Because I just remember the Japanese guy always going, Kim Tok-kang.
That's the name I remember too.
Yeah. Anyway, that's an old school one. And then there's the other one I remember my mom watching was the...
천국의 계단?
No. That was too... No, my mom watched... the biggest one. The one where that girl is cooking all the time.
아, 대장금.
대장금. Yeah. I would always see my mom crying all the time on like Sunday mornings. And then my sister kind of fell into it for a little bit.
Yeah.
And they were both crying. And I'd be like... I'd be ready to go ride my skateboard outside. And I'd be like... 엄마 괜찮아요? Which means, Mom, are you okay? And she's like, oh, we're fine. It's just so great. Go have fun. And I always remember thinking like, man, women are so weird. Like, don't you want to relax? And I still say the same phrase to you, no? Why do you watch those dramas? Like,
because it's fun.
I know. Don't you want to just watch movies for entertainment? I mean, if it makes you cry, don't you not want to watch it?
Well, but I say the same thing to you because all the movies that you watch are so tensed up and gets like sweat in my hand.
It's
Don't
true.
you want to relax a little bit, Daniel?
Yeah, you know what? That's right. Good. Yeah, yes. Yes, I defer. Yes. Katie has... Okay, now we're going just on tangents, but listeners out there, have you guys ever watched a movie with someone that really hits you when they're watching? Katie's the style that when we watch a movie and it's scary, she will hit me, or if it's funny, she'll slap me so hard. She's like, ah! I'll be like, ouch. Or like, Katie,
That's so much exaggeration, Daniel.
no, we have to also talk about why you're so scared of watching scary movies. Guys, Katie is to the next degree. Even if there's like a little like a sound, or like a scary sound with bass in it, like she'd be like, turn that off right now. And then she'll cover her ears and she'll go to the room. Like, she will not watch even 10 seconds of any scary movie.
I think that's just how I am born with.
Yeah.
I was always like that since I was really young.
What is the scariest movie you've watched so far?
Like when I was like really young, maybe 8 or 9, we used to watch this scary drama called... it's a very famous one, and then my mom would play it, like, and watch it with the whole family, and I would be terrified by it. So I have this trauma lingering from that experience. So even just a tiny bit of like ombre sound or something, it's just like, ugh! I just have enough.
Yeah, your hands go up, you look through like the slits of your finger, and then at some point you're like, I've had enough, I'm walking out.
And I thought it would get better over time as I become adult and stuff, but it doesn't. And remember last time we went to watch 곡성?
Oh, what is the English title for 곡성?
Look for
Man,
it.
that's a good
Let me
film.
look for it.
Yeah, take a look at it. We thought it was just like like an adventure film or something.
Or just like,
a
regular
thriller?
Korean movie.
Yeah, like a thriller.
It's called The Wailing.
Oh, The Wailing.
Ooh.
Man, 2 minutes in, I'm like so into it. I'm like, what is it? What is killing the villagers? And Katie's like, we gotta go now. So
it was literally 2 minutes, and then they didn't even finish printing out all the names.
Yeah.
Like directors produced by, those like things that come at the beginning. But I immediately knew that this
Like the
is not
soundtrack,
something
right,
that I can afford
to watch. But you know what's funny though? Because I stopped watching so much, or I stopped watching so little of these horror films, I have a craving for it.
Yeah.
You know how your body
You're so
craves things that you're not
you
allowed
watch
to
it
have?
alone.
Yeah, like I never used to watch drama when I was, or like horror dramas or horror movies when I was young. But after we started dating, strangely at nighttime, I want to get like terrified. Even though you're terrifying already, Carrie.
So I should level up.
Yeah, you should like help me scratch that itch once in a while and watch it together. Because right now, when you go to bed, what Netflix drama am I watching right now? The one Strangers from Hell.
Oh.
The Korean one is 타인의 지옥의 타인인가? Something like that.
Yeah, it's a Korean one, right?
It's good. I like it. Yeah, it's kind of like a play on American Horror Story, but Korean dramas type. Yeah, but anyway, We're talking about...
we were talking about your second dad.
That's right. Guys, this second dad, I still remember that he even built like a skateboard ramp for us.
Ooh.
So we would launch. Oh my gosh, we were so crazy. I would ride down the skateboard as fast as I could down this hill, and there was this wooden ramp.
Oh my God.
And I would launch off of it and try to jump over Costco boxes. And it was a competition between me and my friend.
Yeah.
And then at one point, I wanted to up the ante because I would see on TV there would be like Evel Knievel, which was this guy on this motorcycle, and he would do like crazy stunts, jumping over Las Vegas and things like that. And I thought I could be the next Korean Evel Knievel. So I would gather up all the neighborhood kids, and I would make them lie down next to the ramp. And I would lay them down, and I would come down the hill, and I would jump over them. I was so crazy. If I landed on any one of those kids, oh my gosh, the hospital bill, I mean, that would have been bankrupt Daniel family. Would have been done.
You're taking so much risk.
But at that time, I just had to jump over 6 kids, and the bet was on. Oh man, these are such fun memories. And then one of the kids told their parents, and their parents came out. Oh my God, they chased us out of the neighborhood, and then we had to break the ramp, and we had to apologize so much. So, but then I started skateboarding, like, you know, later in life, just as a way to de-stress. And, you know, that dad also took us out to go sailing in Catalina. He had a boat.
Really?
Yeah, that was the first time I rode a sailboat. Whoa. And so, like, all of these little experiences, exposures when I was young, they plant a little seed. And then when you grow up, it's so much easier to go back towards it or try something new. I think there's something with that with food as well.
Food?
Yeah. I always thought it was weird when I had like some high school friends, they would order a hamburger and they would take off all the lettuce, onions, tomatoes, and just eat the meat with cheese. Very strange.
But there are certain foods that I don't eat because I never had them growing up, like 곱창 or like raw fish.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan.
Sashimi. Yeah, and I also remember when a friend came to Korea with another friend and his friend, he wouldn't eat like any seafood. He doesn't do any vegetables. He just does meat. And I was like, oh, very and he just said that when he was young in his family, they just had like rice and meat. He was Spanish. Yeah, he was Mexican.
Yeah,
Mexican
that's
guy.
so important though.
And so I was just like, yeah, when you're young, getting exposure to new things, I think is really, really important. If you don't, I don't know. I think you're like missing out on life.
Some people would say that you wouldn't really remember all those things when you become an adult or later on in life.
Oh, that's true.
But then I don't know if that's true though. Like, because even if you don't remember it exactly, there's certain bits of memories that like just are seated in you, and it just comes out eventually. Yeah. And likewise, my mom was so active with us growing up. She would like take us like every weekend to somewhere new, and we would be like traveling a lot.
Yeah.
And I think those experiences helped us a lot. And even now, like, you know, I don't like to just stay at home and do nothing.
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
We're always going out on the weekends
you
or
and me are not,
discovering new places.
You and me are not homebodies at all. We don't like staying home. On the weekends, we're always out.
Yeah, I get so much more energy by like looking at different things and trying out, you know, new stuff.
You know, you mentioned like going out. I remember when I was young, I was so dying to get out of the house, and my mom, she would always have leverage on me. She was like, you know, when I was young, I didn't get to learn piano, so I want to make sure you learn how to play piano. And I hated the piano. I absolutely hated the piano. Like I had this.
So funny.
Remember,
because that's exactly the story of my younger brother.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah. At my piano, I mean, basically a lot of Asians learn piano or some sort of musical instrument when they're young. The piano tutoring place right next to it was a taekwondo, and every time when I would wait for my teacher to become open, I would look into the door of the taekwondo, and I'd be like, I would do anything to get out of this godforsaken piano lessons. And it happened. You
didn't do taekwondo?
No, my mom wanted me to play piano, and I would keep telling her I could do pow, pow, pow. Better than da 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 da. She's like, no, I'm not hearing it. So
Oh, poor you.
there's 2 incidents that convinced my mom that I really hated piano. The first one, my mom, like I was saying, when I wanted to go out, she would say, you have to practice 1 hour of piano. Do you know how long 1 hour is for a little kid? That's like a 1 week.
Yeah.
And so I was very clever when I was young. Sometimes my mom would fall asleep. And so we had this clock that was right above the piano.
Yeah.
And so I would play da 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 da, and I would check back over my shoulder, and I could see my mom was drifting away, just falling asleep. And I'd play one more song just to double check, and then I could hear my friend knocking. Where are you? You know,
Oh
on the
my
door, right? So
gosh.
now it's urgent. So I had to come up with something quick. And you know what I come up with?
Tell me. Amaze us, Daniel.
I just played the one side of the piano with one side of my hand, and then I slowly went up and I got the clock, pulled it down, then I moved the hour hand. So then I had not all the way, just until I had 2 minutes left until, let's say it was 3, then I would move it to 3:58, and then for 2 minutes
Oh my God.
I would practice, and I'd be like, Dan! And I would make sure to hit the last note very loud. And my mom, I'd be like, Amma, it's 4. I can go out now. She's like, oh, 그래, 그래. And then mom would, oh, 대신에 I have to go pick up your dad or something. Or so my mom actually went out that day. And I was so nervous.
Oh
I was like, in my young mind, maybe she won't notice. And then my mom figured out that I switched the hand clocks to get out of practice.
God. You're such a sly kid.
Yeah, you got to think on your feet. Who's going to be playing piano for an hour when you got to go play with your friends? Your friends are waiting on those bikes. You got to get out there.
Oh my gosh.
And I also had this Russian teacher. This Russian teacher was so brutal. She was teaching me like the Russian way. Basically, I'd be playing the piano, and every time I would get a note wrong, I would still remember she had like this little stick, and she would hit my knuckles. And then
That's so tough.
And then at one point, I got used to the pain, so I didn't care, like if she would keep hitting them. And so she got so fed up. She's like, forget this. So she would eat an apple, and then she would just put on her makeup.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then at one point, she thought that would like get my attention. I would still keep playing wrong. I didn't really care. I was still waiting until get home so I could play some games. And then she threw the music book across the room.
Oh
It
my
hit the side of the wall.
God.
And my mom was waiting outside. She heard it. She was like, what's going on inside? And I told her, Amma, what I say? I told you that lady's crazy. She tries to beat me up. It's abuse. Abuse. And my mom finally understood this kid will not
Oh my God.
play musical instruments.
Oh, you're such a tough kid.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to learn, you don't want to learn. Then my mom tried to get me in violin. And then what happened in junior high?
Not taekwondo?
Yeah. My
You
mom.
never learned taekwondo?
No, I did for a little bit. But then, yeah. What happened when I was in junior high with the violin? I enrolled into class because my mom said I had to learn something, a music instrument. Then what I do? During class, the teacher was like, you have to play in groups in the beginning. And then the kid's like, hey, are you actually playing the strings? I was doing basically Guitar Hero with the violin. I wasn't even going across the strings. I was just doing the movements, moving my head like I was Yo-Yo Ma, whatever. And then he called me out.
It's Yohama.
Yo-Yo Ma?
Is it Yo-Yo Ma?
Yeah, but he plays the cello. That was the
And
end
then
of
you
that.
got caught by the teacher?
Yeah, he said come out to the front of class and play. I didn't know how to play. It was 2 weeks in, I didn't know how to play a single string. Got kicked out. And then that was the end of my musical career. Yeah. Until the DJ part.
Actually, I learned both of the instruments that you mentioned, and I really enjoyed them.
You did?
Yeah. But maybe it's just, I don't know, my brother had to go through the same experience,
Yeah.
and he really didn't enjoy playing the piano.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, my mom gave up on him quite early on. In terms of the musical stuff, not in life.
I was re-listening to one of my favorite podcasts. not podcast, but one of my favorite like speakers. His name is Naval Ravikant. He's like a venture capitalist from San Francisco. He's also a philosopher. So he's an investor plus philosopher, and I really like the stuff that he talks about. And in one of his talks, he was talking about how he was a latchkey kid. Latchkey. Yeah, and I thought it was an interesting term. I looked it up, and it basically means a person or a kid who raises himself at home, right? Because the parents are out at work. And I was definitely a latchkey kid. Now that I think about it, I think most of the immigrants, Korean Americans, Korean anywhere that moved to a different country, or Chinese, or I don't know, Indian, anyone who immigrated to the States, most of them were latchkey kids.
Yeah.
Because your parents had to go make a living in a new country, which is beyond tough. I learned a lot of things by myself. There's always a silver lining, right?
Yeah.
So as a latchkey kid, you don't get the attention from your parents. You have to develop for yourself, right? This YouTube channel, you know where it all started from? It all started from the fact that I had to cook for my sister. My sister didn't know how to cook, but she was a bully.
My gosh.
Yeah, my sister had like such an aggressive personality. She went through puberty hard, and she let everyone know that she was angry when she was angry.
Yeah.
And like, she was brutal. And I was only 2 years younger than her, so we used to fight all the time. And my sister understood leverage. So like there was this game, I think that was when Nintendo 64 was first coming out. I had this Mario 64, and I would be like playing through the game, and my sister would be hungry, and she's like, "Hey, make me food right now." And I'd be like, "No, you make it." And she was like, she wouldn't say anything. She'd just walk over to my my Mario 64 cartridge. She'd pick it up, and she'd be like, "You're gonna get one more chance. You better cook for it now." And
she's such a boss.
Oh, she was a boss. Hugo Boss. And then she'd be like, "Arasa," which means like, "All right." And she'd walk to the restroom, and then she'd be like, "All right, now you got 20 seconds before your Mario is going down the toilet." And I would be like, "No!" I had dedicated like 2 weeks into that game already, right? The first thing I still remember cooking for my sister, we would have leftover doenjang that we ate during the night. And then my sister would be like, make some rice with that too. So I'd boil that up. I'd crack an egg. I'd make scrambled egg. I'd throw that in there. And then I'd put some of the leftover rice and then make bibimbap out of that. Mix all that together. And then I'd give it to my sister. She would eat. And then she'd give me back my game.
Wow. So you were feeding your older sister.
Yeah, that would be nice if that was one time. That happened like every day after school when my mom dropped us off.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. And at some point, me and my sister would fight so much that my mom started dropping me off at the library.
Oh.
Public library. Fullerton Public Library.
Okay.
And it was funny because at that time, I would go and my mom would say, same thing. My mom's philosophy is so easy. Go practice piano for an hour, or in this case, my mom would be like, go read 3 books and I'll pick you up. I'd be like, what time? She's like, go read 3 books and I'll be there. I'm like, what? So I tried reading books, but when you're that young, it doesn't work. Made like a little group of kids. Like there'd be a lot of Mexican kids, there'd be a lot of black kids, and then there'd be me. There wasn't a lot of Asian kids at the library at that time. I think they were all in like after tutors. Oh. But so we made a little gang at the library, like us kids. And then Pokemon cards was very popular then.
Okay.
So I told all the kids, let's do Pokemon trading. And all of a sudden, I would start hustling these kids for their cards. Like some of them were younger. Yeah. And like I really wanted these, like the more expensive one or these shiny cards. Yeah. So I would like find a way where I would give them like 10 of my regular cards for one of their shiny cards. Right.
Ooh, a trader.
Yeah. And I started learning trading, before I do stock trading. I was like trading Pokemon cards with them. And then I would always be getting the better end of the deal because I knew how exclusive those were. And some of these kids, they didn't. And so at one point I started I traded out like maybe 50 of these like regular cards for like 5 or 7 of these really expensive, like hard to get cards. And then their mom, one of these kids' moms came and said, give the cards back. Ooh. And I still remember saying, "A trade is a trade. We shook on it. It's done." And the lady, like, she didn't have much to say. She's like, "My kid still wants it." I was like, no, it's done.
Oh my gosh.
And so then I got flagged at the public library, right? The librarians all knew me. And then sometimes I would go outside and I'd be so bored, right? I mean, you're young, right?
Yeah.
And this was also the time of WWE.
What is this?
Remember I told you in the last story, do you smell what The Rock is cooking?
Oh.
Right? There was another wrestler. His name was, I think, Eddie Guerrero. He was a Mexican guy.
Okay.
I think the name was right. I mean, maybe convincing this with another friend named Eddie. But he had this phrase. It wasn't, "Do you smell what The Rock is cooking?"
What is
Like
it?
when he gets into the ring, he goes, "Mamacita."
What does that mean?
I didn't know at the time, but I liked Eddie Guerrero.
Ooh,
And so every time I would see a
Mamacita.
Spanish lady, "Mamacita," right? And I would get weird stares. And sometimes the kids
You
would...
sound so weird.
Yeah, and sometimes the kids or the lady would like laugh, right? And then I still remember this one time, this elder Spanish lady, she had to be like a grandma. She was walking in, and I was just like, "Hola, mamacita," which next thing I knew, she called the librarians, and then I got kicked out of the library.
Oh my gosh.
So I didn't know until I came home, and then I asked one of my friends, and that means hot mama. It's like
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, so I was saying that to like this grandma. So then I got kicked out of the library. Yeah, for saying rude things.
You're such a unexpected kid.
So then I came back home, and then my mom, she was like, "Where am I going to place this kid?" And so she just let me be for a little bit. Oh my gosh, these stories are going to get juicy now. So all these memories are coming like into my brain right now. This was the time when in America it was dial-up modem for internet, right? So you go, it was this weird thing. It was like, do you remember 56K?
Yeah.
Do you remember the sound, that crazy sound it made before it like dialed in?
Yeah, I think so.
Like when we got internet at the house, my mind exploded. Like there were so many things that you could see. And so in the beginning, I looked up like Britannica, like looking up like articles about like hippos.
Were you doing those typing exercises too?
Yeah, I probably have. Yeah, got some CDs, Britannica CDs, and going on the internet. And then at one point, I saw a pair of boobies online. Oh my gosh, my mind exploded. My mind exploded.
Good for you.
My mind exploded. And why I'm saying this is at one point, my mind exploded so much that I would spend so much time just looking at these sites, but I'd be so nervous because I knew my mom would be coming home and I didn't want her seeing that I was looking at boobies the whole time instead of reading books, right? So my researching skills in this area got quite developed. And at one point, I found this software where if you clicked into it, you can see Russian boobies. And I was like, ooh, Russian? That's crazy. That's somewhere else. So I clicked into it. But strangely, it would make this, that same 56K modem sound connecting to Moscow. And I didn't really think about it. I thought it was very cool.
Yeah.
And I just let it run.
And then?
And I was just looking at like pictures of Russian boobies for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And, you know, I just maybe 2-3 hours, maybe 5 hours until my parents got home. And then didn't think much of it. 1 month later, my dad comes like barging into the door. And he was like, who's on the internet all this time? Who is it? Who's on the internet? And then I just, of course, my finger went straight to my sister. I was like, it's her. It's her. It's her. She's doing all this, like, we're looking at shopping, and like there was like the AOL Instant Messenger. She was like doing instant messenger. That was like the hot thing to do at the time to like connect with kids.
Yeah.
You like to check out like other guys, like a profile or their IDs and stuff. And I blamed it on my sister. I remember my sister was crying. She was like, I'm so sorry. I won't use it anymore.
Oh.
Because like we thought it was the over internet usage. And then at some point my sister was like, give me the bill. I want to read it. And it said like, I think it was like russiansexy.com or something like that. Like it had the word Russian. And my dad was, I don't think he just picked up on his English was so bad. And my sister told my dad, go call them because I'm not talking to anyone with the screen name Russian Sexy. Go call them. Go call the number on the thing. And my dad, he called and then he figured out that it was like a porn site.
Oh my gosh. You're dead, Daniel.
So what I had ended up doing was I had clicked one too many times and it was like a premium service that logged you into a Russian portal service and they were charging you international calling to be logged into their portal.
What?
And so I racked up like maybe 3-4 hours of like basically talking to Russia. So it came over to like $100, $200.
Oh my gosh.
And so then 난리 났지. Yeah. So then my mom and my dad, basically I got a huge beating at home. Memme for like, huge bruises on my butt for checking out Russian boobies. I don't know why but
I'm just lost for words, Daniel.
yeah, my mom was too. And every time she would leave the house to go to work, there's one thing she said that always it drove me crazy. Korean women, very indirect. My mom would say, Daniel, 오늘도 공부해야지. Which means, Daniel, we got to study today, right? And I always knew what that meant. And so it drove me crazy. Yeah. Those are my stories of being a latchkey kid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty incredible story, Daniel. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you. So, Katie, how about you? Do you have any these Russian booby stories of your own? Were you looking at Serbian?
Nothing close to yours, Daniel, but growing up, like I told you, like I had a lot of fear, right?
Yeah.
So even just walking from school back home,
Yeah.
I would like look back several times behind me to see if there's somebody following.
That's right. Because you were in London by yourself.
No. This was long before. So maybe when I was like 7, 8, like when I was in Korea.
Oh, I see. Great. Yeah.
Yeah, and my first year, second year elementary school, I would like walk home. But then somehow there were some TV shows that I watched at that time that was like showed some weird adults abusing children or something. So that, of course, I had that memory stuck in my head. So I was very like cautious and fearful of the people around me. So even at home, I would do the double locking.
Oh my gosh, you still do that today?
Yeah,
it all comes from when you're young.
Yeah. Because I would be alone at home, right? So I would be so fearful. Like I was so scared. So I would make sure that I do the double locking.
Yeah.
And one thing that I do really well is like I can sleep really well.
Yeah.
So
that we know for sure.
And then I would fall asleep in my house, like with the door double locked. And like around 5 or 6, my mom would come home, but she can't unlock it because it's double locked.
That's happened to me so many times, Katie. I would go to go throw away the food garbage, and I come and then it's locked.
When is it?
Last time. Like last week, I was open and you're like, oh, where were you? Or I go to the grocery mart to go pick something up. I can't even get into our own house because you disable the electronic.
Yes. And then I'm fall so far asleep, right, in my room. So no matter how hard my mom bangs the room or like knocks the room, I can't hear it. So she has to stand there like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then eventually she'll call the key man to come like drill the thing. So they will have to open the house that way.
You know what's funny, Katie? Yesterday you were talking with your friend and you fell asleep in your room.
Yeah.
And I was like, Katie. And I knocked on the door. And I was like, there's no way she would not. I was like, Katie. And I was like, are you mad at me or something? Like, what the heck? I was like, why are you so sensitive? Katie! Nothing. So then, don't you remember? I crawled in through the window from the veranda, and I came into our room, and there you were, just. And I was like, and I said, Katie, don't pretend you're sleeping. Let's talk. And you're like, and I was like, oh my god, this girl's really sleeping.
Yeah. So then my mom would get so pissed, right? Because like she had to
called
pay
someone
extra money.
to open the door when you
Yeah.
were sleeping on the inside.
Yeah, so
That's
like
crazy.
she would get so annoyed at me, and then that happened like a couple of times.
Yeah.
So after that, my mom would like always reminding me, don't fall asleep because I'm gonna go home soon. So like yeah, I would like when it gets around like 5 or 6, I would like remind myself you can't go to sleep, or but then I would have to unlock the second lock, but
Yeah.
then I would feel very agitated about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that thing still carries on to this day.
Do you still have those vivid dreams? Because when you
Dreams,
dream,
yeah.
you really like remember everything the next day. I'm always very surprised. I don't remember anything. It's
Yeah,
always
there are
blank.
times when I don't remember anything, but when I do remember things, it just keeps on in my memory for many, many years. So some dreams I had when I was 5 or 6,
Yeah.
I still have them like very clear in my memory. Yeah,
I think there has to be a purpose for dreams.
I think so.
Maybe-
I think so.
You know how like a computer, like when we turn something off, we clear the cache, or like in a browser. Okay, maybe this is getting too nerdy, but your memories, I think when you dream, maybe it's like cleaning out your memory space in your brain, or even storing it in some places.
But maybe, do you think dreams are connected to your before life?
Nope, not at all. That's just dumb. Why? Do you?
Sometimes I wonder, because some of these scenes I see in my dreams, like these are things I've never experienced, and I wonder how come it can ever come into my dream like that.
Oh, how could it be in your psyche when you've never
Yeah.
had a similar experience in real life?
Yeah.
Like what?
Like when I was like 5, that dream I had, someone came in. I was like just grocery shopping in a supermarket, and somebody came with a sword, and like he tried to kill me, and I actually died in my dream because he split me in 3 pieces. Yeah, those kind of splitting somebody in 3 pieces with a sword is something that happened in
It's
just
very
the
traumatic.
old times, right?
Yeah.
Like those like Joseon dynasty.
Was it Zoro
or
who came into your dreams?
I don't know. But like those kind of things. I've only lived 5 years of my life, and I had that dream
But how do you even remember that?
because
Till
it was
now?
so
It
strong.
was so traumatic.
Yeah.
That's, it'd be interesting if you can get trauma from dreams, because that's your body feeling trauma from things that doesn't even exist. Wow, what if that became a thing?
But I think that's possible too.
Hmm.
So speaking of dreams, you know, in Korea, it's kind of a myth we have. Like before you give birth to your child, when you're pregnant,
Yeah.
somebody in your family, including you or your husband or somebody, will have a special dream about that child.
That's right.
And that we have a special word for it called
That's right.
taemong.
Taemong, that's
Yeah.
right.
So there will always have to be, this dream has to have some sort of animal like a dragon or snake, and something related to the child that will like shed light on the child's character or something.
How about you? Did your mom tell you about a taemong that she had about you?
Yeah, I think it was my dad
Oh,
who had a dream about me.
sure.
And I don't remember the exact detail, but some dragon or snake came by and it bit his leg.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's your D? Or what's your animal?
I'm a horse.
You're a horse.
Yeah.
You're the horse.
What about you? You're a taemong.
My dad had that, the dream, the taemong. He didn't know my mom was pregnant, and he had this dream that he was in this mountainside. And he was just taking a hike, and there was this, he still describes it, it was like a beautiful clear blue lake. And then out from the middle, he started feeling an earthquake. And so he, and so he like sat down, and then from the middle of the lake came
A dragon.
a double-headed dragon. Double-headed. It had 2 heads, and it went straight up into the sky. And then he still remembers like the water coming off of the scales of the dragon. And then he woke up and he was like, oh my God,
This
And the
is
next
my
day-
son.
No, he didn't know that my mom was pregnant, right? So then
Okay.
he was like, Lotto. So he went and he bought a lot of lotto tickets because he said that was the most spectacular dream. That must mean I'm hitting the jackpot.
Oh my gosh.
And then like a month later, they figured out. And then you know what the crazy thing is?
Yeah.
I'm Year of the Dragon, right?
Oh.
But then I'm 88. I'm 1988, my
Yeah.
birth year.
Yeah.
And that's 88 is the year of Double Dragon.
Really?
Yeah, 88.
Oh, I thought that's because of the lettering 88. 8 looks like a dragon.
Oh, is that right? I don't know.
But you could be right because there
There's
are certain
something of
years.
the double
Yeah,
dragon
yeah,
or
yeah.
something. That's crazy that everyone or most. I mean, it must be a cultural thing, right?
But why is it just happening in Korean?
Yeah, that's what's interesting. I mean, is there someone in Finland or in
cultures?
Indian dreaming about dragons?
Yeah,
They
related
must have
to the
different
child.
animals.
Mm,
It's interesting.
maybe
I
this
don't
is
know.
an Asian thing.
Yeah, but it's not like we're used to seeing dragons. Why does it only enter Asians' minds? I don't know. There's a lot of very interesting things. Our mind is very complex.
Yeah.
Also, Katie, when you're away in Busan, one of my college roommates, he gathered up everyone through email,
Mhm.
and we met up on Zoom. Actually, it wasn't Zoom. It was Google Hangout,
Mhm.
and we played a game called Codenames.
Mm.
It was the first time I seen all of my roommates in like close to a decade, and it was so much fun.
Yeah,
It
that
was
sounds
great.
really good.
Yeah, I mean, the game itself, like he was like, oh, it's a pretty fun game. And I was it's gonna be cheesy, but it was actually really fun to play. I would
Okay.
recommend like our guests, if you're staying at home, look up on Google how to play Codenames,
Uh-huh.
and then there's like an online version of it, and it's free, and you can just play with other guests while you're doing like virtual hangouts.
So is it like a puzzle?
No, it's kind of like Pictionary, where there's like words on a game board, and then you have to basically tell the person who you're playing with to pick those two words by giving a trigger word.
Mhm.
So for example, if on the board there was ice and skate,
Mhm.
I might say ice and skate. I might say hockey,
Mhm.
but hockey is not on the board. So if I say hockey 2, that means there's two words on the board that are close to the word hockey. And then you'll be like, oh, there's ice. And then there's skate. Oh, that kind of is like hockey. And then you pick those two and then get all the cards. But I mean, it's a very simple game, which makes it fun. And it
Mm.
like during the downtime, you can like catch up with your friends.
Yeah, like the fact that you can play games, like virtual games
Yeah.
with friends.
Yeah, it was so much fun. And I also thought it was so funny that a lot of my college roommates, like the little perks, the idiosyncrasies of like people.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my friends, when he eats something, he always like has a little piece of food that comes out on the side, and he always shoves it in with his like his pointer finger. And he's still doing that. I thought it was hilarious. And one of my friends,
People don't change.
yeah, people do not change. I mean, of course, everyone's got more mature. Some of them have kids. And one of my friends, when he's thinking, he always twirls his hair. But he's got barely any hair. But he always twirls that one. And I saw him trying to think of the trigger word, and he's just twirling. And I was like, oh my God, this is so funny. We're just dying laughing. It was great seeing college friends. And we decided to make a habit. So I think we have another code name session. We were supposed to play in it too. You'll join next time.
Yeah, I missed it. Yeah, and speaking of the situation with COVID and like what's happening, well, like in Seoul, it kind of got worse over the past couple of weeks.
There's been little pockets of breakout.
Yeah, we've started to have the second wave, and it's mostly concentrated around Seoul and the Seoul metropolitan area.
Yeah.
And of course, like I was supposed to go back to work, like we were gonna go back to normal
Yeah.
like a few weeks ago, but then it all came to a stop and my remote got extended, but this time for another 3 months.
For 3 months?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't tell me this.
Yeah.
It's 3 months?
Yeah. So now,
Wait, when did you hear? Yesterday?
Yeah, just a few days ago.
Oh.
And now, like, I heard the company as a whole is like looking at like reviewing the entire like work day schedule. So this is definitely not confirmed, but one of the things that's under consideration is they're thinking to build small offices, like more like rent out small spaces in different parts of Seoul.
Oh, wow.
So that people, if needed, they can work there or like meet with other colleagues in those like designated like offices.
So you have like small lean offices throughout the city or different regions, and you can just
like
go
that.
there to work.
So, and then kind of do something else with the main office. So I thought that would be very interesting.
What's the reception among the employees at the company?
People with families kind of prefer working at office because they have the kids around at home and it's not very easy to concentrate. And now that it's summer, like apparently the AC bills getting like a huge burden to them.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We have yet to see how much this. We bought a new Samsung air conditioner. We have yet to see how big this bill is. Everyone always goes, oh, like 여름 폭발, which means summer explosion of the electricity bills. But let's see how much this one is.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But I think people who are single or don't have kids, they don't really mind that often. Yeah, we are in the process of like collecting like employees' like opinions on it.
But there's a lot of residual benefits if you're on site at work, right? You get free food, free lunch.
That too. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things to consider. So it won't be an easy decision, but definitely like a huge change is coming.
How about you? Do you prefer working at home and seeing my face, my ugly, beautiful face every day?
Yeah, there's pros and cons.
Oh, geez, Katie.
But overall, I think I don't mind working at home. Like there are days when I miss working at office, like going to office, and there are definitely added benefits to it.
But if you had to choose?
If I had to choose, then I think I kind of like this new style.
Staying at home, working from home. Yeah. If this actually becomes permanent, then I think in the future, there's going to be a lot of people moving out of major cities. Like there's no reason to be living in LA or New York if you can work remotely or go into these like lean offices that are like spread out throughout other regions.
Maybe we can move to Busan and do surfing every day.
That would be interesting. Why not? Why stop at Busan? Why not just go to Jeju then?
Because Busan has better food.
Oh, really? Ooh, you might have some haters. Jeju people, grab your pitchforks. All right, and I think that's it for today. Tonight we have to go climbing, bouldering. Man, I'm getting better, Katie. I'm not the worst person in my class. I'm not the last one getting picked to go.
Yeah, you're getting better. But don't get better too quickly because I can't catch up with you. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm excited to go. Anyway, guys, have a great week. And I'm still very curious about this temong or the dreams that maybe a partner or a family member may get when someone is pregnant, whether you have that in your country and what kind of dreams do you have and who are the characters? Do you guys get dragons or do you get lamb or maybe you get a skunk or maybe you get a mole or maybe you get a lizard? Tell us about it. We're curious.